So the question I have for you ladies is, I've heard a lot of people say, hey, I'm married to my best friend. I mean, isn't that intimacy? And yet, even though they're best friends, something's going wrong. Well, what's going wrong? Oops.
Well, I think it's a tricky question, because I think there are some people out there that are deeply afraid of deep passion. And so they want just friendship. They feel safer there. And that's perfectly fine. So there are people that they have a history from their childhood, and what they need foremost in the forefront is that friendship and that safety. And that passion is not the primary motivating force why they are together. What we find in the people who want to come to our workshops are people who are really interested in cultivating that deeper passion. And in that case, that friendship level is a little bit shallow. I always say there's deep divers and shallow swimmers. And I would prefer, in my life, I prefer to be a deep diver. I prefer to have a relationship that I can explore sexuality, and I can allow my man to take me to a place that I can't go myself.
It sounds a little risky.
It's very risky, which is why, for me, you come to the workshop and you have to be willing. You have to be willing to trust your mate, trust your own heart. You have to trust our container, that we're going to do our very best to keep you as safe as we possibly can. But if you want something more than friendship, if you are starving for something deeper, if you desperately know that before you die you want to have the greatest sex of your life, you might want to come to our workshop.
And recognizing that relationship is incredibly complex. And to say, in one moment or in one instance where it's beneficial, my partner and I are best friends. We're working on a certain level where that's just jiving, we're getting done what we need to get done. But I can honestly say that when I drop into my sensual feminine and my partner embodies his masculine, we're not best friends in that moment. In fact, shit can fly, and it's all a beautiful dance, and it's all very heartfelt. But those are moments where I would say we are not best friends. What we are is incredibly intimate and incredibly passionate and incredibly connected and incredibly heartfelt. But that piece, that best friends piece, which again, in most relationships, that's a safety, that's a foundation. You have to have that first in some instances, and you have to be able to feel your heart with that person. But when we're talking about the dance of polarity and the dance of sensuality and passion, the best friend piece, it sits outside the door while you engage in this dance, and then perhaps the next moment you have to walk out the door, pick that piece back up, and go out into the world and do what you do as best friends in order to get things done.
Isn't that really difficult, though, to compartmentalize your life in that regard?
It can be very difficult, absolutely. And I think what happens is being best friends can become easy. And in an earlier talk, Suzanne had touched on the piece where sometimes we become a little lazy. And so we stick with the best friends aspect. We stick with this place where it's easy, it's comfortable, it's safe, and we don't push past that. And so to be able to move back and forth between the two realms, it takes effort, it takes willingness, and also in some instances it takes the development of some tools. So in the Shades of Intimacy workshop, that's where we bring back in those tools of, if you've stayed in this realm of best friends for quite some time, a lot of times we don't know how to get ourselves back out of that. And so to learn those ways of reigniting this passion, reigniting this dance, is essential to pushing past that. And it's very important to do that. And again, I think that's where most people, or a lot of people, get stuck, is staying with the best friends. And then all of a sudden there's no sex, there's no polarity, there's no passion. And we're in pain because that's what we want with our partner.
And I think deep passion is not safe. I think it's safe if you have a partner that understands that together you want to go into that deep passion. But deep passion is about going into that edge. It's about feeling into the other person, not feeling into yourself. And so when you're a friend, you need to be unconditionally loving and to be there for them. But when you want to be a really powerful mate, you know that your mate needs to go somewhere and you need to take him or her to that edge. And you're doing it from your heart. You're not doing it for yourself. You're actually doing it because it's what they need in order to open, to feel safe, and to release. And so innately in deep passion, there's that desire to go a little bit to the edge of safety and lean into that edge consciously, constructively, and safely.